Howdy football fiends, I am Mr. Pewter. Welcome to your Sports Outpost Saturday morning football show. We have 14 Week 1 games to update you with the biggest plays and moments. The main game for the stream is Texas at Ohio State, number 1 versus number 2, Longhorns Buckeyes, Sark Day for the second time in 8 months. So sit back and relax here on the SPOP couch with Rody for the first full weekend of college football. Like for real guys, it's the freaking weekend and we bout to have us some fun. Okay, that's it for me, and here is your host Road Dog.
Howdy and welcome to the trenches of my couch live here on YT. Thank you, Mr. Peter, for that introduction. And yes, we have an awesome show to update here this Saturday morning for the first full weekend of college football. As here at your Sports Outpost, we are covering all 134 programs as we are getting the screens all in order to go here this first, again, Saturday morning of the full weekend of the season. If you are here for the first time, welcome to the trenches. And if you are somehow returning, you're a stud, and welcome back. Welcome back to the trenches, as I am your host again, Rody, live here for our main game. That is Texas at Ohio State. Lee Corso just made his final pick of his amazing career in covering the sport that we all love. Obviously, even before that, he was an amazing coach over at Indiana and at Notre Dame. Mostly Indiana. I think he was like a position coach over there for the Irish. Regardless, what we are doing here is hitting you with the updates for all 14 of the morning games. Again, we are covering all of college football. Ohio State versus Texas hasn't kicked off yet. But to let us, get us ready for what we are going to be getting into, as also the fun moments from any of these contests will be here from the X Machine, as I'm going to do the best I can. The last couple of days, we've already had some games get their final scores, and we had some predictions. We've only missed 3 out of the first 2 days, Thursday and Friday. The Boise State game, that was a tough loss here, as there's a reason why the room is blue. And then the Friday final scores, a nice nail biter there in San Jose State, as their kicker missed 2 game-winning field goals to at least give them the lead against the Chippewas, who got an amazing road win. We had some overtime, as that was the other game we missed. Tarleton State beat Army on the road. Good for them, as they are possibly making the jump to the FBS in the coming years. And here are our picks for this morning slate of games. We got Tennessee, we got Mississippi State, we got the big old Longhorns on the road. That is one of our few going against the grain. I believe the Buckeyes are favored by 1.5 points. Then we got Navy over Virginia Military Institute. Pitt over Duquette, Tulane over Northwestern, the American going against the Big Ten there. Purdue over Ball State. Merrimack comes into town versus Kent State. We're going to take the Flashes to try and end that 21-22 game losing streak at the moment. Maryland hosts FAU. We're going with the Terps. And then another one where we accidentally messed up the graphic, but if there's any team that we messed up the graphic for, and it's the one that has a pretty good chance in winning, as they did last year against Mississippi State in Starkville, we're going with the Toledo Rockets over the Kentucky Wildcats in Lexington. Fordham versus Boston College there, we're going to go with Boston College. West Virginia versus Robert Morris, we're going with the Mountaineers. And then the final 2, UConn hosts Central Connecticut State, going with the Huskies. And then Indiana, one of the few ranked teams here this morning, they host Old Dominion, who gave South Carolina last year a tough test in the opening weeks of the 2024 season, but we're going Hoosiers. The rest of the picks, as we did already technically do that, that's already uploaded on the channel. We have it split up day by day, section by section. Saturday morning, Saturday noon, even though if it's not the morning for you, it might be noon. Then we have like the late afternoon or early afternoon into the late afternoon nightcap, Sunday, Monday games, all split up for those previews. And yeah, this is who we got. This is the right after morning noon games. This is early afternoon into the afternoon who we got. We also have the nightcap, which is going to be a lot of fun. We won't be live for that, unfortunately. I'm actually going to enjoy that Utah UCLA game. And then tomorrow we got Notre Dame, Miami, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, and then Monday, as it's Labor Day weekend. Did I say North Carolina? I should have said South Carolina. North Carolina is playing on Monday, though, against TCU in Chapel Hill as Billy B. Belichick debuts as a college football head coach. And the ranked teams so far in the final scores. Well, I think maybe update. I think I have this all queued up. Yeah, I do have it queued up for the final scores that we'll have by the end of this stream. This is our top 25 here at Your Sports Outpost. Some misses, I think, so far this season. Number 13, Boise State. They'll definitely be dropping out of the top 25, which will update, I think, on Wednesday because there's a Monday game, even though, you know, North Carolina should be winning that. Regardless, we'll see who moves up, who moves down from this past weekend's results. So our record, the last couple of seasons, our record this season so far, we're 4-1 in week 0. We're trying to get to the big 700 number this 2025 season. Last year we went 86-11 in week 1. The year before that we went 60-18. It was a pretty rough opening to when we did this, but we pretty much recovered after that and had some pretty solid weekends. We're going to try to get as many single-digit losses like we did there in week 2 for 2023. As we're getting through the slides, these are the biggest games we think. One's already technically occurred. Georgia Tech versus Colorado. We'll get into some of those final scores in a little bit. We do a pick'ems with a bunch of awesome content creators here on YT, over on Rumble, on X, CFB Home. We have Gridiron Uncensored, who has an awesome podcast. The Herd Bros, who does some college football content in that dynasty mode. They do some awesome stuff over there. The Governor of College Football, they do some awesome stuff. They are affiliated with a bunch of other content creators that just hold it down over there on X and other platforms. Brendan Moore, former Michigan State graduate, is now doing just stuff in all over the sports world. Does some stuff in baseball as well. Awesome content creator. College Football Commission, amazing. Another one covering not just the FBS but the FCS and lower leagues in the collegiate level of the sport of football. I would say that probably does some of the best job in updating you on Division 2 and 3 schools and their final scores and what's going on over there. We got DJ and Takes along with Noah, who's in that panda suit. Those two hosts are joining us again for our pick'ems. And then Updog Sports Talk has another awesome podcast here, and I think they do some collab work with Uncensored, Gridiron Uncensored, as we're kicking off finally here in the shoe. Texas gets the ball first with Arch Manning taking the reins from Quint Ewers from last season. Tailgate Nate, you definitely know who Tailgate Nate. He previews every single college football team going into the season. He's also along with us here, and these are our picks for this weekend. The Herd Bros last week in week 0 went 5-0. Everyone else basically went 4-1. Governor missed out, took some risks, tried to make the difference up. They fall to 3-2. And yeah, we are going to be updating these scores as everything goes on. As we go through the slides, I got to update this scoreboard here in a few moments, as kickoff is underway for the big opener. Nope. There's a one-man wrecking crew here. This game is not going off as nice as they would want it, it looks like, and my scoreboard's a little off at the moment. I'm gonna fix those real quick before we get the first snap here in the shoe. There we go. That's a little bit better, I think. And yeah, we got the first quarter. The main game will be Texas at Ohio State. The first snap is underway. I think Mississippi State and Southern Miss is also taken off. Tennessee's already scored there with a field goal. Maybe we can already get that on the X machine going, like I said in that intro, as that'll definitely open up this Saturday morning's scores. Mississippi State has also scored 7-0 over Southern Miss. I'm going to be updating those scroll screens down below here in a few moments. And then there's going to be some later kickoffs. I think the latest kickoff is in about 30 minutes. But yeah, let's see if we can find that touchdown already off the bat. I got to get all my screens going. There's just a lot to address and get to. We got to scroll that down for the win probability. We like to show that off, as this thing needs to go a little bit bigger, it looks like. There we go. Screens are somewhat almost aligned. There we go. That'll keep us updated as everything rolls on. I'm going to go find the first touchdown real quick. And ooh, we got a lot of scoring going on that we're going to get to. Tulane's already gotten 7 points. Purdue versus Ball State. Both teams are going back and forth. That one's at 7-6. Pitt's also scored 7-0. We're going to update those scores there on the bottom. And then also on the side, there's so much going on already here in this opening. Saturday of the first full weekend of college football. And at 6. Gotta manually do all these. It's fun. It's fun. Pitt playing Duquette for the first time since 1939. That's what's going on over there. We got that going. Maryland and FAU is also kicked off. And Texas is moving the ball up the field a little bit. They've gotten themselves a first down. The Longhorns dealing with a new offensive line. Their left tackle that's slated to start, Gooseby, was going into this contest with maybe an injury. And I think he was labeled as probable. And he's out on the field for the Longhorns. Okay, let's get to that other screen real quick. There's already a ton of scores going on here. Tulane's up 7-0, and they already got the ball back. That is not a good start for Northwestern over there in Louisiana. Pretty rough. Big third down for Texas at the moment. I think I got all the scores updated for this screen to come in. Mary Mac Penn State's also gotten underway. Virginia Military Institute. And then Purdue. Has that changed? No, is that 2 field goals? Texas, 4th and 2. They have the offense still out on the field. See if they can convert. All right, I think I got all of our scores. Yeah, the later kickoffs are Toledo, Kentucky, Fordham, Boston College, Robert Morris, West Virginia, Central Connecticut, UConn, and then Old Dominion, Indiana. And we got a big stop. Oh, the Buckeyes prevent the Longhorns on that 4th down attempt on their side of the field, and Julian Sain will get his first time as the starting quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes. His first chance to help get maybe the Buckeyes some points here. Yeah, we got a bunch of fun screens and angles here for this show. But let me go find that score. Let's check it out. Let's see if we can find anything. Yeah, first pass of Arch Manning's Texas Longhorn career being an incomplete one. Someone posting that over on X. How nice. We have our first touchdown to show you guys. It's between Purdue and Ball State. Getting that queued up over here. There's the X machine. Gets it going for us from CFB Talk Daily. Is that like 50 yards to the house? Breaks a tackle or two. And Purdue took the lead there 7-0. I think Ball State might have scored and then went and opted for a 2-point conversion and failed. And that's why it's currently 7-6. They're in Lafayette, Indiana. Oh, yeah, Indiana. That's where Purdue is. The geography in the brain working right there. Okay, where are we off to next? I think I got to update some scores, as some other games have kicked off. I think I got them all in line. That's right, in about 20 minutes, Toledo versus Kentucky kicks off. Well, we have some more scoring. I gotta change this screen already. Ole Miss gets, not Ole Miss, Southern Miss gets their first set of points of the year, and it's a field goal, and we'll update that in a few moments. We got you guys locked in for all the scores this upcoming morning, and as best we can get the highlights in as well. We got one from pretty. Ooh, points came back for Ball State, so those didn't hold, and then apparently, Purdue has struck back again already. Dang, that's a rough start. on the road there for that Mac Nation school. $14-0. That's why the 6 points was hanging there. It's gonna be a wild morning, you guys. It's gonna be just a wild morning here. Texas with a big third down stop. LaFowl, who just won that starting job in the linebacker position just before the season started for Texas, makes a big play there at the line of scrimmage and forces the Buckeyes to 4th down. Go find some more scores. Touchdowns, yeah, get your touchdowns. Oh, we got Bussin' with the Boys posting some clips over on the X Machine. Go check that out. We'll see that 4th down stop. So we can fit both of these onto our screen. That was a big 4th down stop by the Buckeyes on Texas. Who's big 7'9" for Texas there on the offensive line? I gotta go check that out. I think there might have been a switch around kickoff at left guard. I thought that was supposed to be Neto Umeo Zulu. Let's go find out what's going on with the line situation. Put this back up. Close these. It's our first big defensive play there for the stream. I got a depth chart out for Texas, number 79. Connor Stroh looks like is the starter at left guard next to Trevor Gooseby. Wonder what happened to Umeo Zulu. I didn't see any outs or injuries. Check out those scores. Any new updates? I have so many things open on my end. No new scoring updates, it looks like. Oh no, Navy has scored. And VMI has already punted it back. The midshipman. Let's get this screen going too. Seven nothing there. Indianapolis, Maryland. Still nothing between the Longhorns and Buckeyes. Both teams jockeying for field position early on here in this high profile matchup. We got a drop pass that just got uploaded. Let's see that. Both the Longhorns and Buckeyes went for it on fourth downs and ending their drives on down. It's a pretty interesting way to open up the games. Is that we have third and long after that turnover on downs that we're going to see here. Get the end of the clip there. Saying targeting his new tight end Claire, transferring from Purdue, just a little off to the sideline, runs him into the Buckeye benches, and that was the Buckeyes' first drive, ending on downs there. Texas fails to convert, only picks up about 5. They're going to be punting it back to the home team. So we'll keep these scores up here, keep you updated. Ooh, we got another score there for Pitt. They go up 14-0 on Duquette. That one's probably going to turn into an ugly affair. And then we'll get that screen updated too. $14-0. Ooh, Tennessee. It's a 2-yard run from Penton Lewis to go up 10-0 there in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Neutral site contest between the Volunteers and Orange. And they extend their lead to 2 possessions now. Let's update that real quick. Go back and find some clips, maybe of that touchdown run that just happened. We don't have any touchdowns. We have a lot of failed attempts here to show. overlaps a little bit better for us. When I go screen to screen. And just like Fox Sports saying here, or college football, another drive coming up short for the Longhorns. We were just talking about this. I think it was only 5 or 6 yards gain there. And Ohio State gets the ball back as Julian Sayin gets another crack at it of maybe taking the lead at home. So far, either quarterback hasn't made the mistakes that I was talking about. And on top of that, Ohio State's defensive line has been holding up. That was kind of my big issue for this one. As Texas not really running the ball well. Here we go. We have a score for the first time in a while. That Tennessee touchdown, 2 yards out for the running back Lewis. Very excited to see Joey Aguilar in the Volunteers uniform this season. That is the Nico Iamaleava replacement. And that's also the first touchdown for Tennessee in 2025, as they're off to a great start there again on the neutral site field. $10-0 there. Tennessee on top. I'll make this smaller. Another one from CFB Talk Daily. Ooh, we have another touchdown to show. It's at least the first one between Tulane and Northwestern. We got to update some scores. Let's do that before we show this clip. So we have some score updates. Northwestern has gotten some points. And the one between Maryland and FAU has a couple of touchdowns to tally there. I believe we have all those score updates. Those are the score updates so far. Mississippi State gets a field goal, makes it a full possession. Maryland versus FAU, they got a touchdown for each of themselves. And Northwestern, at least on the road, isn't going to be shut out. They have a field goal to add against Tulane's 7. We have another touchdown to show from some earlier action. Get that queued up. This is the Green Wave going up on top at home against Northwestern. Jake Retzlaff, they transfer in from BYU. And the Green Wave fans loving that. So we got what, 3 touchdowns so far on the stream? Not too bad, not too bad. We'll see how many more we get by the end of this. One thing that's pretty interesting, Texas still on top on that win probability, at least for ESPN. We'll keep that on the screen as best we can. And then maybe when this game concludes, or if there's an interesting dip, some kind of comeback, we'll show some of those other graphs for the games going on this morning or noon, wherever you are. But yeah, we got you updated here at your Sports Outpost with all the scores, baby. Let's see if we can go find some more touchdowns, because there was quite a few that have happened, but we haven't gotten the show. Oh, nice. Oh, Maryland is a pick 6. We have the first defensive touchdown for the morning show. Let's check it out. That's Maryland's first points of the season, being a turnover, also from CFB Talk Daily. Let's get that queued up. Quarterback gets hit while making the throw. Maryland takes it in for their first pick 6 of 2025. Should be a good one there. Should be a good one between the Big Ten and American. So we got 4 touchdowns so far here on the stream. Trying to see if Navy VMI gets uploaded. We have maybe the second touchdown to watch for Purdue, and then FAU's first one, as I went down 7-0, but have responded at least on the road there. Let's open up that, see what else they got for us. College football zone's not too bad in terms of highlights. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ooh, we have an 89-yard touchdown to the house for a punt return. This is going to be the first one for the Saturday morning show. That's how Pitt got, I believe, their first touchdown in that contest against Duquette. Let's get that queued up. So that's the tail end. It'll reset the clip. 89 yards to the house from College Football Zone's upload. That 3 misses, and he's off to the races for the first 7 in the Pitt Panthers 2025 campaign. I'll turn my the main gain up. It's still nothing here in the shoe. It looks like at least this drive for the Buckeyes is going somewhere. They started off behind their own 10-yard line and have moved the ball down the field somewhat well. I know Jeremiah Smith has dropped a pass already, and the broadcast was blaming Julian Sayin. We got 3 drops today by Ohio State receivers. That's the new stat line. Ooh, we have the Bulldogs. We have also found that on College Football Zone. As they're up 10-3 at the moment. Am I correct on that? No fresh scoring. Ooh, Purdue has added another 7. Let's change that before we show the clip. I gotta do the bottom too, don't I? Where is it at? Where is this? There it is. There's a score update. Let me do the bottom as well. A little laggy there. Get all these bottom scores in line, and I think we got them. There we go. Let's check out that clip that I just mentioned. 57-yard touchdown for Mississippi State there. They're on the road against Southern Miss. As that Blake Shapen goes into year 2 as the Bulldogs starting quarterback, the former Baylor Bear there. And there's already another score update. Tulane has gotten themselves a field goal to extend their lead back to 7. Looks like the Retzlaff situation over there is going to work out pretty well for them. We got 10-3 Green Wave on top of the Purple Cats. Navy has increased their lead to 14. I have yet to see any of their touchdowns or scores posted yet. Maybe we'll find one. I think we're now, what, 6 deep? 6 or 7 touchdowns deep? Let's update that score. Did it on the bottom. Now we got to do it to the top. $14-0. Midshipman double their lead. Interesting story going on between the Buckeyes and Longhorns. Jeremiah Smith had to change out his gloves. He already had 2 drop passes. Julian Sain also missed him as he was wide open. He changed his gloves. Maybe that might have changed his mood and helping out his Buckeyes get some points in the lead there in the shoe. Dang, what a leg. 55-yard field goal. Let's get some special teams in on this one. I think we already had a punt return. Now we're going to show Mississippi State's 55-yard through the uprights. So impressive. Up there. So the clip will reset here. This is from Sicko's Committee. They have an awesome podcast covering college football in general. And that makes it 10-3 there in Mississippi. Ooh, we have a scoop and score. If I'm not mistaken, the Tennessee North Carolina State game had a scoop and score. And when the Volunteers take on the ACC once again, it is a thing. $17-0. That game is looking to be getting out of hand. Especially on a neutral site field. You don't like to see that. But there it is. 17-0. We got the scoop and score clip here. I just got to update all the other scores so that we're all in line. Ooh, and it looks like Maryland has gotten themselves a field goal to edge the visiting Owls. All right, let's go check that clip out. And then I'm going to update that score. Oh, wait, nope. I don't got it queued up. More defensive touchdowns here. Ooh, what did I do wrong? Alright, I did it right. Here we go. Syracuse and Jelly, the new quarterback out of Notre Dame, fumbles it while going down. And the Volunteers defense picks it up. 17-0 there in the first quarter. Volunteer fans must be running wild. Very wild. Makes it 17-0 there. Which one of these do I have to update? It is Maryland. The Terps hit a field goal. Makes it 10-7. That game between Kent State and Merrimack. If you somehow betted some money on Merrimack or haven't done it yet, and you can somehow get a bet in, that might be one. Don't take complete advice from me, but it is 0-0. Kent State is on a 20+ game losing streak. The last time they played an FCS opponent, that was St. Francis in 2024. They also lost that game to the lower level opponent. And it looks like that game's going to be another close one. I'm going to check out the game cast. Because neither of these sides have been able to really run the ball. Texas has over 37 yards. That's a good start. The last time they played the Buckeyes, they only got 60, so they're over halfway there. CJ Baxter got 5 carries for 24 yards. Travion Weissner has 3 carries for 11. Then good old Arch, he got Wheels Manning. Well, he only got 2 yards with 2 attempts. CJ Donaldson, they transfer him from West Virginia, has 5 carries for 15 yards, so he's been pretty much stuffed. And then James Peoples has 4 carries for just 9, for now a total of Buckeyes on the ground 24 yards. We'll see how those defensive fronts, I don't want to say crumble, but come together there. I think we're at a total of at least 8 or 9 touchdowns. 2 of them have been defensive ones. Scoop and score, pick 6 there in Maryland. The rest have been basically home runs, besides the one between Syracuse and Tennessee. There was a 2-yard touchdown there in the red zone for the Volunteers. Everything has been pretty big on the plays so far. Ooh, I exited out of that. That's interesting. I'm seeing a depth chart for the Alabama and Florida State game, and Team Keenum the third is still on it. He has gone some kind of surgery that is going to put him out for the beginning of the year. So some of these depth charts are a little deceiving on the information being put out. Unless there's a good old switcheroo that I'm not knowing about, that the Crimson Tide have been playing, I guess, on the Seminoles here. Is this the VMI game? Yeah, this is the VMI. We got Navy's first touchdown of the year. They got queued up for that 14-0 lead. Ohio State looks like they are going to be scoring here in a few moments. They had, again, been moving the ball pretty well on this last drive. and started to really get the running game going. Let's get that touchdown here on the screen for the midshipmen. Their first of the season. They're taking on the Virginia Military Institute. We got military on military action there. James Franklin football posting this clip. And there we go. Not the biggest play, but it is one from the red zone there. I'm going to double check some scores just before we go and put that back on the screen. Ooh, Navy has gone up now. So yeah, good move by me. Good move by me. Ooh, I can't wait to show that Southern Miss touchdown because they have tied that game up at home against the Starkville Dogs. And I'm just double checking, triple checking all the scores. As Toledo versus Kentucky has gotten underway. So that screen is going to get updated as well. Nice. So here we go. The updated scores from the last few moments. First one on the top there. Southern Miss has equalized there at home. Duquette has gotten their first set of points against Pitt. They missed the PAT there. And then Toledo versus Kentucky has again gotten underway. And the Navy adds to their lead to make it 21-0 against VMI. So let's go look for those touchdowns. Haven't seen anything get posted yet. Still waiting, still waiting. Not a touchdown here, but we have from a few moments ago on this Buckeye drive. As Ohio State is on Texas's 2-yard line, it's 3rd and goal. The game is currently on commercial break, but earlier on this drive again, we have a face mask on an offensive lineman. Colin Simmons with the flag. Let's get that queued up. New right tackle Daniel Phillips there, getting his helmet torn off by that Texas defender. Transfer in from Minnesota. Syracuse has scored 17-7. They will not be shut out. Gotta update the pick team. Gotta open up the numbers there for Toledo and Kentucky. Ooh, big play here on Fox for Texas and Ohio State. The Buckeyes going for it on 4th and goal. We got a jumbo package. And it pays off. We got our first points here for the main game. We'll even check out the win probability. I'm gonna put this screen up here after the PAT, which is good. Ohio State leads 7-0 here in the shoe. As the main game finally gets his first set of points, I gotta update all the scores in 3 different spots. We'll just keep that there. There we go, 7-0. Ohio State is leading. Big run there. We'll see if we can get it on the screen in a few moments. We do have Syracuse's first points. Let's check that out. Option play, and the Orange score their first touchdown of the 2025 season. We'll see if they can make it a game, make some adjustments, especially at halftime. But it is a tough ask. Win probability has changed here in the shoe. Ohio State has jumped up and has changed that graph, especially with this drive going on. 66.3% chance of winning. Let me increase the size of this a little bit more onto this side. And Texas offense off to a slow start. Let's see if they can respond with some at least a field goal here, right? Because you don't want the Buckeyes to be running away with this one. Let's go find some more touchdowns. As we're getting more in the red zone, just in general. What's going on in one between Maryland? They got a safety? Ooh, it looks like we're going to have a safety here on the stream in a little bit. That score has changed to 12-7. Tulane extends their lead. They got a field goal, makes it 13-3. We're gonna update that screen here in a few moments. I'm just double checking, triple checking. Pitt has also extended their lead, and I believe they missed. Ooh, the PAT was blocked. That one's 20-6. Again, we'll update the screen here in a few moments. I'm doing the bottom screen. Kent State has gotten their first set of points. Makes it 7-0 between Merrimack and the Flashes. And Kentucky also goes up 7-0 in Lexington. So let's do that real quick. We do have Ole Miss's touchdown queued up. So we'll get it back into the action. Okay, that is the score. I now need to get Ole Miss on the screen. Not Ole Miss, Southern Miss. A lot of misses so far in this stream. Here we go. We got it queued up. Another one in the red zone. A pretty gnarly catch there. It'll reset here in a few moments. Or more than a few moments. Looked like it was going to be broken up by the Bulldog defender. Somehow, some way, the Golden Eagle receiver comes up with it and falls perfectly to him into the end zone. That one is 10-10. So we got a lot of scoring. I think we're up to 10 touchdowns so far on the stream. We've gotten 2 defensive ones. We're going to have a safety here in a few moments. I got to find that. Between Maryland and FAU. We do have the main games touchdown. I just found that. We'll cue that up. We'll even put the win probability, as that has definitely changed since the scoring of the Buckeyes. That'll reset. 13-3 for Texas at the moment. And it's CJ Donaldson, the West Virginia transfer, scoring his first Buckeye touchdown. Ooh. Lorenzo Styles Jr. putting a lick on Arch Manning as Texas's new quarterback is forced out of bounds. He gets a generous spot to move the chains on that 3rd and 3. We're definitely going to find that one. And the spotting stands. And Texas on that next play go deep to Wingo. But that one falls incomplete. Let's see if we can find that big hit on good old Art. Putting his body on the line. Ooh, had the safety. We found it. We found the safety between Maryland. Oh, we got it. We actually have a couple of them. We have a big 73-yard touchdown from Joey Aguilar. I got to update that score between Syracuse and Tennessee. Let me just get these lined up for us. Yeah, it is 24-7. Let's update the scores so that when we come back from the clips, we'll have that all corrected. Is there any other ones? Ooh, Maryland has gotten them some more points. Another 7. Okay. That's corrected. Just want to make sure all the scores are up to date if you just start to tune in. Here we go. Here we go. (24-7) there in Atlanta. We're going to get to that clip here in a few moments. But let's watch that safety for Maryland. First safety of the Saturday morning show here at your Sports Outpost. All defense for the Terps have now scored 9 points. That Owls quarterback did not stand a chance there in the pocket. Right tackle gets completely obliterated. We do have that 73-yard touchdown from Joey Aguilar. It looks like it's going to be some SSDD there in Knoxville. Does not matter who the quarterback is in the Josh Heupel system. They're going to be very successful with whoever they got slinging it for them. That makes it 24-7 again in Atlanta. Looks like in about an hour we have a couple more games started. 3 games. The one between UConn and Central Connecticut, Robert Morris, West Virginia, and Morgantown, and then Fordham, Boston College. Buckeyes looking like they're getting the ball back for another drive. Man, if they can make it a 2-possession lead going into halftime, man, ooh, Steve Sarkisian. Sark is gonna have to make some big halftime adjustments there on the road. Broadcast showing a lot of Buckeyes in that national championship team on the sideline that are now in the NFL. We got Sawyer, Tuomo Lau, those great bookends We saw Will Howard have a couple interviews before kickoff. If I'm not mistaken, Trayvon Henderson is also in attendance. Navy has extended their lead to 28-0. It looks like they won't be having the same woes that Army had yesterday against Tarleton State. They are handling business there in Annapolis. We will update that score line on the screen. 28-0 over the Cadets of VMI. Pitt is also extending their lead 27-6. Those highlights should be posted here pretty soon. I think that's going to be... Oh no! Tulane jumps to 20-3, hosting Northwestern. The Americans going to be having a great weekend. Boise already fallen to USF. Now you got the Green Wave putting it on Northwestern. Let's do this screen and then I'll go look for those clips. Hopefully they will show their face here pretty soon. Here, let's go look for some clips, as I think we've updated the scores. We do have the Arch Manning hit on that last drive. Let's check that out. As, we're still waiting for some of those new touchdowns to arrive. Lorenzo Styles putting the Longhorns quarterback on the ground into the out of bounds zone. And you'll probably be feeling that tomorrow morning. Because sometimes it's not the biggest looking hits that get you. From the Scarlet and Gray podcast there. Go find some more clips. Hopefully, touchdowns. Since we haven't found any new touchdowns yet, we have some other angles of some previous ones. Let's pop those on the screen. This was a scoop and score for the Volunteers. Nice sideline shot. Steve Angeli getting taken down. The ball pops out. Tennessee takes it to the house. This is another angle of that first Buckeye touchdown. Donaldson pounding it in. That great Ohio State offensive line giving them enough room to operate, to punch it in, to make it 7-0 here, as that's our main game. I believe it's still, still holding for the Buckeyes. Dropped down 1%. Since that touchdown, it was peaking at 67. As Texas gave the ball back to the Buckeyes. Oh, the Terps down there in Maryland, adding to their lead once again, making it 26-7 over the visiting Owls. And Merrimack has gotten themselves a field goal against the Flashes of Kent State. Toledo is in the red zone as the first quarter ends. They're on the Kentucky 12. They should be looking to get some points to make that game close there in Lexington. So we're going to do some score updates. Get that out of the way. Just a few. Again, Maryland adding another touchdown after already getting a safety and a pick six. And then Merrimack making it 7-3. They're in Kent, Ohio. Now we're just browsing for some more highlights to come in. Ooh, we have a Retzlaff 69-yard touchdown pass to make it 20-3 there against Northwestern. And then maybe I can find another one. Before we put that on the screen. Yeah, looks like we're not gonna get any extra highlights besides that one, but let's pop it out on the screen. We're having some loading issues. Refresh the page, see if that works. It isn't. I did see another one, so let's pop that off. There's a couple other Retzlaff ones from Unnecessary Roughness. Here we go. Oh, it wasn't a touchdown pass. It was a run from the former BYU Coug to the house, showing off his legs here to his new fans there in New Orleans. I think that's going to be an amazing pickup for Tulane. As the reason why they're wearing no decal on their helmets is in memory and then of the Katrina hurricane and the victims of it 20 years ago. That's why Tulane's rocking no decals today. But they are the green wave of the scoreboard at the moment with that big 69-yard touchdown on the ground. Everything's still at a standstill with the score lines, but the highlights should be coming in. Just got to be a little bit more patient. So I think we're up to, 15 touchdowns so far on the stream? I think we've had like at least 5 or 6 go 50 plus yards. Some touchdowns finished off in the red zone. Some defensive action as well, and 1 field goal. Okay, the main game has gone to halftime in the shoe, 7-0. Buckeyes couldn't get any points before the end of the second quarter. At the moment, stat-wise, it's not too pretty between the quarterbacks. Arch Manning only has 26 yards with 5 out of 10 attempts. 6 for 11 for Julian Sane with 53 yards. Neither have thrown a pick, so at least that's good. And there hasn't been a single turnover. Some flags. We'll get to that. Rushing, Texas has now gotten to 53 yards in total. That is about 7 away from what they did last year or last season against Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. 50 yards on the ground for the Buckeyes. They were kind of just chipping away in that touchdown drive. They get started over right behind the 10-yard line. So it took them a minute to get down the field. It's been mostly defense. Only 1 tackle for loss for the Buckeyes. That comes from Arvell Reese, which I think that was a big 3rd and long sack on Arch Manning. And then the defense for the Longhorns also have a tackle for loss. That is Leona LaFowl. The penalties. So let's pop that up on the screen. Mostly, or actually all, for Texas. Four penalties for 35 yards, stalling out drives there, and allowing drives to continue. We saw the face mask, one of the few non-touchdown highlights so far on the stream that we showed earlier. Allowed the Buckeyes to continue that drive and get the 7 points that they punched there in the red zone. And yeah, it looks like we're in a bit of a standstill in terms of highlights. I think I'm going to take my break, and I'll be back here in a few moments, hopefully with some highlights. I will keep you updated at least on the scores as well. There on the bottom, a lot of games going to halftime here. It looks like Mississippi State has gotten themselves another field goal to at least go into halftime with a lead. Pitt, right before halftime, they've increased their lead to at least 34-6 against Duquette. And Toledo has gotten themselves another. So we're going to have two safeties to show on the stream. One from Maryland and one from the Rockets over there in Lexington. Let me update the final screen before I take my break. Gonna move my legs around as we've been chilling here on the couch, updating you all of all the morning scoring games. Okay. Score updates. It's a weird one there in Lexington, 7-2 with Toledo and Kentucky. FAU is down 26-7 against Maryland. Kent State is up 7-3. That one should continue to be a close one against Merrimack. 21-0 Purdue on top of Ball State. That one has actually opened up the second half. 20-3 between Tulane and Northwestern. 34-6 Pitt on top of Duquette. Navy blowing out VMI 28-0 so far. And then the big one, our main game, Ohio State up 7-0 in Columbus. Right before halftime, just like we mentioned, Mississippi State goes up 13-10 against Southern Miss. And the final one to update, 24-7 there in Atlanta between Tennessee and Syracuse. The Orange are on the Tennessee 5-yard line, so maybe they're going to be punching some points in here in a few moments. I'm going to take my break, and then we'll be back here with some more action in a bit.
You got it, Rody. Alright, you football fiends, we are going to take our halftime break. Rody will return just before the teams retake the field with some notes of the first half. Okay, we'll see you guys in a bit.
All right, all right, all right. We are back here live. I'm just getting things back in order. It looks like Syracuse did score there right before halftime. Still about a minute and some change left in Atlanta. So they're making it a fight against the Volunteers. Maryland, before halftime, extends their lead once again over the Owls. We're going to look at those scores here in a little bit. I'm just double checking all my I's and crossing my T's before we put it on the screen. I do have some highlights as I'm just getting again my eggs in order. Before we pop it up on the screen. Hopefully you're having a great opening weekend to the first full slate of games. I think we've had a decent amount of good action so far here. That is the score lines going into the second half, as our main game is Ohio State, Texas. That one's at halftime, 7-0. Syracuse again scoring right before halftime, 24-14 against Tennessee. Maybe the Volunteers get some points before half. Maryland makes it 33-7. They're at home against FAU. I think that is the score update since the last time before our break. We do have some highlights. Let's check those out. We have Pitt's touchdown to make it 34-6 against Duquette. Another one in the red zone to the back of the end zone. Watch that one more time. And then the other one is the second safety of the stream. Toledo wrapping up the Kentucky quarterback in the end zone to make it 7-2. Maryland had the other one on the Owls. And we get safety number 2 with the Rockets in Lexington. The main game looking all right. I would say it's still 7-0. I think it was a good point from Matt Leinart on Fox for the halftime show that Texas is just one big play away from making it, a tie ball game. They don't start with the ball to open up the second half, though. They're going to be kicking it off to the Buckeyes. Their defense has done, I think, a pretty good job in keeping Jeremiah Smith quiet. He's had to change his gloves early on in the game to make himself feel, I guess, a little bit better in trying to make up for the 2 drop passes that he had in that first quarter. Navy has extended their lead, making it 31-0 over the Cadets of Virginia Military Institute. Midshipmen blowing out them there. Let's look at that score screen. Third quarter is about to kick back off here in the shoe. I gotta change that. I didn't actually do that while the game was going on into the second quarter, but let's do it now. As both teams are lining up. And it's going to be a fair catch as the Buckeyes will start that drive on their 20. I'm going to look for some more highlights. Jeremiah Smith gets a reception to open up the second half. We do have the Syracuse touchdown. Let's get that on the screen. Now that made it 24-14 with the PAT being good. The clip will recycle. There you go from CFB Talk Daily. Squeezing it in there in the flats to punch it over the line to again get them their second touchdown, making it a fight there in Atlanta, at least for the Orange. Almost getting to 20 touchdowns for the stream here. Looks like it's going to be a 3 and out for the Buckeyes on that first drive of the second half. Tennessee looks like they got themselves a field goal before halftime. The drive got stalled out there in the red zone, but they will go into the locker room, extending their lead by a little bit. What else we got? Virginia Military Institute gets their first touchdown over the midshipmen, making it 31-7. And Kentucky gets a field goal with 2 minutes left there in Lexington to make it 10-2. It's a weird score line between the Wildcats and Rockets. And there are the updates. I'm going to update the bottom. Actually, no, that was a touchdown by the Volunteers. I misspoke. I just saw a clip of a Syracuse Orange player going down. Maybe that had something to do in why the Volunteers scored some points. We'll show that here in a few moments, because that's kind of the only highlight we have. Okay. We have the highlight of the supposed injury. Get that on the screen. Right before Tennessee scores, you look at that orange defender probably trying to stall out the drive. This Volunteer offense is just as quick and as lethal with Joey Aguilar behind it. (31-14). It looks like it's going to be at halftime there in Atlanta. Arch Manning using his feet gets the chains moving for the Longhorns. Texas moving the ball down the field. That interesting offensive line situation, especially at that left guard position. Neto Umio Zulu was slated to be the starter for the Longhorns going into 2025, but Connor Straw, the redshirt sophomore, is in that position. And it looks like the adjustments at halftime seem to be somewhat working. Texas is moving the ball on the ground, using both their running backs and their quarterback Arch Manning, getting past the 50-yard line, at least for this drive, and looking to get their first set of points of the 2025 season here. And we'll actually get a nice view of this drive with Art picking up that first down. We have some scoring updates. We'll get to that after we take a look at this clip of Arch again picking up that first down with his feet, being very shifty and difficult to take down. The win probability. Oh, as that looks like it rolled up. Well, I'll line that better. Ohio State has dropped down to 60%, 60.3% to be precise, and Texas is moving back up into some kind of position to get back into this. There is a nice big play to get them into the red zone as they're knocking. I got to make some updates here in a few seconds because we have some score updates to talk about. Pitt pinning it on Duquette there. And the Flashes of Kent State extending their lead. All right, here we go. That is the score update. Pitt 41-6 Kent State 14-3 as those two teams lead, and Purdue gets another touchdown to make it 28-0 against Ball State. And I forgot to do one more because Tulane got themselves another field goal. So I'm gonna make that one change. And then I'm going to look for those highlights, if any show their faces on the X machine. Texas is in the red zone, so if you got Fox, flip that on. Might be seeing a touchdown live here. Mississippi State gets a 6-yard run from Bothwell to make it 19-10, increasing their lead that was at 13-10 over Southern Miss. We've got a lot of scoring going on here. We'll pop that back up once they make their PAT. And it is good. Increasing their lead to 2 possessions. Okay. Go look for some pretty clips. Still looking for some clips. I have not found anything on my timeline yet. Getting a lot of stuff from yesterday, some high school stuff. Not that I don't like me a pretty high school play. I saw a pretty gnarly one yesterday that I posted over on my X of St. John Bosco defender one-handing an interception as a Texas school came down to sunny Southern California. It was a pretty ugly score. I think it was like 66-7. Fourth and goal. Ohio State stalls, holds the line against Texas. Still 7-0. The Buckeyes will get the ball back on their 1 yard line. So they got to make sure they don't give up a safety. Because if not, we'll get our third safety to show you guys here on the stream. Already got one from Toledo and Maryland. And Ohio State has jumped up on the win probability. %74%. That's I believe the highest it's been since the game has started. Oh, jumped up to 74%. with the no gain from Arch Manning there. We'll get that clip here in a few moments. We have one of those Maryland touchdowns here. True freshman Malik Washington. That one has 33-7 scoreline. The Terps matching their defense, or overmatching now. Took them a little bit more time to get that offense going under that true freshman quarterback. But safety and a pick six to open up that matchup against the FAU Owls. Looks like we have some opening scores for those other games that had a later noon kickoff. Boston College is up 7-0 over Fordham, and then West Virginia has gotten themselves also 7 points. And the visiting Central Connecticut Blue Devils are up against UConn. We'll get those score updates here in a few moments. So those games are also. I think I already saw that Boston College clip, and I didn't know if that game kicked off. I thought it was a clip from last season, but I think it was a pretty gnarly one, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have queued up here in a few moments. We do have the Buckeye defense holding the line, preventing Texas from getting some points. But before we do that, there are the score updates. Again, Boston College has opened it up. So has West Virginia. And UConn against their in-state foe, not off to a good start. So we got to get those on the bottom screen ready and updated. Old Dominion versus Indiana. That one's going to be starting off here pretty soon. That's the last game that we'll be giving some live scores for. But for that run being stuffed, we have that clip ready to go as we get the tail end of the play. Holding the line. Buckeyes preventing any kind of points. Maybe Sark should have got the field goal just to get the ball rolling. But come up empty-handed. We have a better angle of that 4th and goal stop. From Coach Dan Casey. Didn't work out so well for the Buckeyes on the turnover on downs because they are punting it back with their punter in their own end zone. Does get it away. Crisis averted. And Texas will get some decent field position. They're about like 3 yards short from the 50-yard line as that ball bounced out. And they'll get another crack at some points. Trying to get on the board there in the shoe. Fordham, ooh, it's a field goal. Makes it 7-3 there against Boston College. Merrimack gets another field goal to make it 14-6. And I believe, oh, nope, the Terps get themselves also a field goal. Make it 36-7 against FAU. And those are all of the current score updates. There we go. I want to find that Boston College play. I do have the touchdown. Oh yeah, it looks like that clip that I did see was from a couple of seasons ago, but we do have that one between Fordham and the Eagles here to show you. Another red zone touchdown there. I think we're past 20 touchdowns so far here on the stream. Made it 7-0, but Fordham did respond with a field goal drive. Make it 7-3. As Bill O'Brien begins his second season as a head coach over there for the Eagles. West Virginia. Let's see if we can find that one between Robert Morris and the Mountaineers. We do have that one available. Clip has been found. I think it's Marichilo. Nico. To make it a little bit easier for us. It's a 10-yard touchdown run, giving the Mountaineers their first touchdown of the 2025 season. Arch Manning has thrown himself an interception against the Buckeyes. And that's what made it 7-0 there against Robert Morris. We should have that interception right here in a few moments. It literally just happened. Actually, the Fox just uploaded about a minute ago. That drive that ended at the goal line between the Buckeyes and Longhorns. It's been impressive for Ohio State. They have lost so much this past offseason and completely reloaded to make it very difficult for the Longhorns in this contest so far and getting any points, really. I just saw a clip. Where did it go? I guess it disappeared. Deshaun Bishop. It looked like he's going to be replacing Sampson, the former Tennessee Volunteer quarterback, or running back, sorry. And I do have the interception finally. Found that. Let's get that on the screen. Arch Manning's first interception of the 2025 season. Little late on that throw, most likely. The reason why it's going the other way. What's the win probability sitting at now? 80%. Going to the biggest jump we have seen so far in this contest. Not looking good for the Longhorns. As they definitely should have kicked that field goal. Instead of electing to go for it. But yeah, that is where that game and the latest highlight coming out of it is at. I'm gonna double check the scores, see if there's anything to update. Ooh. Okay, we got some scores going on. Ole Miss gets 7 after halftime. I know Tennessee, Syracuse has gotten back underway. Navy has added 7 to their big lead against VMI. And Boston College scores another touchdown. While the last update will be UConn evening it up against Central Connecticut. Here's the score updates on the big screen. I'll be doing it down below here in a few moments. All right, let's go find some clips. Find the clip. Ooh, we have a big 80-yard touchdown for UConn. That we just talked about. Let's pop that onto the screen. We'll let that reset as I'm going to look for a couple more if they pop up. Gotta love 80-yard touchdowns. There we go. Skylar Bell making a couple moves, saving the play on the sideline, not stepping out. And to the house. Tying it up. The Husky defense needs to now return the favor with making a stop and not giving up points against Central Connecticut there. Third quarter wraps up here in the shoe. Still 7-0. Low scoring affair. I'm kind of not surprised. Defenses have showed up. I was worried about the Buckeyes defensive line, but they have definitely came to play. A lot of replacements that have gone to the NFL. And the fourth quarter begins. Hit them fours up. Hit them fours up. Stat-wise, it has not been a great opening second half. Arch Manning still under 40 yards. Has not done a great job in delivering through the air. 9 for 15. 1 interception. Julian Sayin just being very, very smart with the ball. 10 for 16, 78 yards going into the final quarter here. 119 yards on the ground. That has been Texas's offense. Doubling or, just a yard short of what they did last time out in the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State, but not in return in terms of throwing the ball. And then the Buckeyes on the ground really have only gotten most of those yards on that touchdown drive, only 60 on the ground. CJ Donaldson scoring that touchdown. He only has 40 yards with 13 carries. James Peoples, 9 carries for 18 yards. That's a pretty bad average. And then Julian Sayin, 2 carries, 2 yards on the ground. All defense here. Highest tackler for Texas, Leone Lafau, the product out of Kaku. I don't know how you pronounce that high school's name. Regardless, he is a top tackler. Has 3 solo tackles also. Davison Igbagnosa, a returning DB for the Buckeyes. Igbagnosa has 3 solo tackles, 8 total tackles overall. And then Jermaine Matthews Jr. is the one that picked off Arch Manning there to end the last Longhorn drive. Pitt continues to pour onto Duquette. Makes it 48-6. We're going to update that here in a few moments. Tulane still not allowing Northwestern to do anything on offense. That still sits at 23-3. That's pretty impressive by that American Conference team. Maryland has gotten themselves another field goal to make it 39-7. And also with another touchdown to open up the second half. Tennessee leads 38-14 over Syracuse. That game is basically, I think, in my opinion, over. That's a nice 2-possession lead. And Syracuse is not done all right for themselves, especially on offense. They gave up a touchdown there. Those are the score updates. We're going to do the bottom as well. And I think so far, we've seen touchdowns from every game besides, I think, Kent State Merrimack. We didn't actually see the Kentucky Toledo one, but we did see the safety, which is the reason why we see the big 2 there. We saw Boston College's first touchdown, West Virginia's first touchdown, UConn. So all but one game where we've seen highlights out of. Even the Purdue first touchdown of that game, which they just got a field goal. And that one's going to be ending. I think that's the first game going to be wrapping up here in the noon/morning games. 2-minute timeout has just hit in Lafayette, Indiana. So let me... That's forced. So yeah, 31-0. Boilermakers under Barry Odom doing an excellent job in shutting out Ball State. Their in-state foe there. Maybe I should go look for that Merrimack Kent State touchdown. I know it happened a while ago, but that's the only game we haven't seen a highlight from. And it looks like the Flashes are going to be ending that 20-plus game losing streak. All right, here we go. Ooh, we get our second touchdown. That was an amazing effort to reel that in. Jillian Sane to Carnell Tate. We'll get that one right after we take a look at the only Merrimack Kent State highlight. This should reset here in a few moments. As that is going, I'm gonna go look. There it goes. Restarts. "79 yards." Seen a lot of home runs here. As we get our first highlight out of Kent State versus Merrimack. Let's go look for that big touchdown that just happened moments ago. Carnell Tate finds the end zone. Julian Sand. Great strike from the air. As technically we got to update the scoreboard. And I thought I had those numbers looking all right before I actually even went live yesterday. I gotta move that over. I think that should be a-okay. 14-0. Texas is down in the shoe. And we gotta do the other screen as well. Let's change the main screen. $14-0. Buckeyes increase their lead. 14 unanswered. And it looks like Ohio State's going to make it 2 in a row against Texas. The last time these two met with a home-and-home series, they both exchange road wins. This time around, it looks like it's not going to be that way. Here we go. We got that touchdown from a couple of minutes ago. Win probability has now hit 95.5% for the Buckeyes. And Julian Sane showing why he was the #1 quarterback out of his recruiting class a couple of seasons ago. Product out of Carlsbad, California. Buckeyes getting another quarterback out of sunny Southern California. CJ Stroud out of Rancho Cucamonga. Ryan Day doing work. Bit of a do or die drive. Texas has to get some points on the board. They left 3 there by a drive ended on downs on the Buckeye 1-yard line. Ooh, that is not a pretty stat they'll be looking at. Texas being shut out for the first time through 3 quarters since 2015. That was against Iowa State, which was a 24-0 loss in Ames. UConn finally gets their lead. Old Dominion and Indiana has opened up, and it's already 7-0 Monarchs. If I'm not mistaken, that was an opening kickoff. There's no play-by-play, no box score. I'm trying to see what happened for the reasoning of that touchdown, and it's not telling me whatsoever. It is 7-0. The Hoosiers are down to open up that one again against the Monarchs of Old Dominion. And it's another interception for Arch Manning. Sonny Styles, the star linebacker for the Buckeyes, picks it off. And I'm guessing it's almost going to be 100% probability for the Buckeyes winning this one. But we're up. Ooh, forgot to do the UConn one as well. It also looks like they're going to replay it or review it because the interception looked like it might have hit the ground before Styles gained possession. Regardless, we do have these score updates. I'm going to go find what happened. It's a 75-yard touchdown for Old Dominion, but I'm not seeing a single highlight of it. That looks good. There on the bottom, we are all updated with our scores at the moment. West Virginia, they got a 4th and 5 on Robert Morrison's 9-yard line. They'll probably come away with 3 points. What in the world is going on in Kent State, Ohio? Merrimack went for 2, makes it 14-14. Oh no, is the losing streak gonna continue? Again, the Flashes lost to St. Francis last season in their matchup against an FCS opponent. It looks like it's gonna happen again. Navy gets another touchdown, makes it 45-7 against Virginia Military Institute. Duquette gets another field goal to make it 48-9 against Pitt. And Mississippi State, I think I forgot to update that actually. Makes it 34-10 against Southern Miss. And Syracuse scores a touchdown, fails the 2-point conversion, makes it 38-20. So we'll go to full screen. I want to find that Old Dominion touchdown against Indiana to open up that contest. But those are the updates at the moment. I got to do the bottom as well. They overturn the interception, and Texas gets the ball back. Was not a completed INT there. I'm still looking for that Dominion touchdown, and it's not showing its face. Let's see if they have it over on their page. They do not. We didn't find the Old Dominion touchdown, but we have another one from Joey Aguilar against Syracuse that made it 38-14. It is sitting 38-20 right now. Well, let's check out this highlight real quick. They're not. Oh, I didn't put it in the right spot. Where's our... What's going on here? Did I delete it on accident? There it is. I accidentally deleted a page. So we gotta resize it. Go back to what we had. Another big fourth down for Texas. Ohio State calls a timeout before the play's off. But here is Joey Aguilar's touchdown pass to extend Tennessee's lead. Again, some SSDD going on over there in Knoxville with their quarterback switch from this past offseason. I'm still looking for Old Dominion. I will find that highlight eventually. One of these days, it'll finally come to us. The 75-yard touchdown. Maybe this game's not being televised? Is that the reason why we're not seeing it? Yeah, it's definitely not going to be showing up anytime soon. Here we go. 4th and 3. Texas in the red zone. Can they convert? Ball's incomplete. Turnover on downs once again. More points left on the board. I mean, if they elected to at least go for a field goal of that first drive where they got stops, they would have done it again. And then they would have been one possession away. Now they leave 6 points minimum on the board. And the shutout continues here in Columbus. Just things not going Texas's way here. Yeah, that Old Dominion Indiana game's on FS1. But it's not showing up anywhere. Can we please find the highlight? We do have Merrimack's touchdown. It'll be the second one out of that game. At least we're finding other highlights. Merrimack. Game tying touchdown there to maybe continue the Flash's losing streak. That one's in the fourth quarter as well. We'll keep an eye on those morning kickoffs here, at least on the West Coast. If you're on the East Coast, it'd be noon. Pretty nice looking touchdown there. Okay. Dude, the memes on Arch Manning are so... Oh, dude, it is gathering. The gathering of the trolls over on X. Putting Arch Manning in some funny outfits. Someone has to have the Old Dominion. Come on. Where's that clip? Give me the clip I want to see. I'm not finding it. I want to find me that 75-yard touchdown. Now, they did make a big stop, but we don't get to see the big touchdown. Yeah, I'm not finding it. That's a bit of a bummer. We do have a big stop on the goal line, though, from that one. Let's cue that up. Hoosiers coming up short on their first drive on offense. Still 7-0, I believe, at the moment. I think at the moment we have... Nope, never mind. West Virginia gets a field goal, which they ended up on that drive that we mentioned. And then UConn makes it 21-7 against Central Connecticut. So we do have some score updates. A few. Everything else basically is going to stay the same. Even Toledo versus Kentucky is still standing at 10-2. Toledo did have a drive there towards the red zone. It looks like nothing happened, unfortunately. To at least get that game within reach for the Rockets. But everything else, score is staying the same. Pitt looks like they're going to be increasing their lead. It's 48-9. And no other big changes yet. We do have that incomplete pass from Arch Manning into the end zone for the Longhorns. Coming up short on another red zone drive where they should have probably have kicked it the last two times they were actually in that situation. Make it a one possession game. But here's that miss. Livingstone, I believe, had that ball broken up right before he can reel it in. And it still stands 14-0. Got to come up big. This is now for sure a do or die drive. They have to get 7, or they're basically not going away with any kind of a victory. A 99.1% chance for the Buckeyes, less than 1% for the Longhorns now, as they'll start this drive on their own 41-yard line. So some decent field position to try to get a touchdown, get themselves again back into this. Oh my goodness. Mary Mack has taken the lead. 17-14. I did not believe it was going to happen because Mary Mack last season lost to Dartmouth. I know it is an Ivy League school, not to try to disrespect the Ivy League, but yeah, you don't want to be dropping a big old L against a school like that. But yep, 17-7. The curse continues for the Flashes. Oh, never mind. They have responded. It's 21-17. That update was a little late. That was about 4 minutes ago. It is now changed to again 21-17. I was a little late to that. That's totally fine. We're looking for other highlights, but they're not showing their faces. Kent State's losing streak might not happen. I think we have a final score, if I'm not mistaken. Gotta scroll all the way down for this. No, I think that Purdue. Yeah, I thought the Purdue game would have wrapped up by now, because it was in the 4th. I'm not seeing a final score. Let me go to schedule real quick. Yes, we have our first final score. Purdue beats Ball State 31-0. That's the, again, first game to end regulation for the stream. I will most likely end out with, I think, Kentucky Toledo, especially if that's a close game. The other ones that kind of started off a little bit late will be ending before those unfortunately conclude. And then we'll be going live just to let you know next weekend again here. And then obviously our clips from when we go live for our preview aftermath show will be on this channel as well. So if you miss anything, you won't be far away from, just a click and you'll get in tuned on what's going on in the college football world here from your Sports Outpost. Navy and Pitt again have extended their leads. 51-9 for Pitt, and then 52-7 for Navy. Putting a lot of points on the board there in Annapolis. Touchdown, Longhorns, Livingstone. And the Longhorns will not be shut out. It looks like we have a game here in the shoe. As I'm slowly updating these other contests. One possession game. The defense needs to make a big stop to give the Longhorns a chance. We're going to wait for the extra point to change the scores here. Oh, we could change this one, though. It is now 14-6. We'll change this main score line here in a few moments. They are reviewing this touchdown for Texas. Again, they're reviewing this, so we're waiting for the PAT. We'll also get the clip here in a few moments. Ooh, that's going to be a great highlight to review right now. Yeah, we do have the touchdown. And we have a kickoff return out of Kent State to show right after we show that touch. Oh, we got... No, never mind. We don't have multiple angles. It is a touchdown. So 14-6 stands. Gonna wait for the PAT. Arch Manning gets his first touchdown of 2025 to Livingston. If I'm not mistaken, Mosley, the fifth, the transfer in from Stanford, had some injury issues. But we're good to go. All right. One possession is where it's at right now. PAT is good. We're going to change that main scoreboard on the screen. UConn has scored again. That makes it 28-7 against Central Connecticut. They are running away with that one. Louisville versus Eastern Kentucky has kicked off. We don't have that one on the screen. The Cardinals have scored to make it 7-0. I think it's the Colonels of Eastern Kentucky. I think that's what their mascot name is. Regardless, these are the scores at the moment. Okay, I don't know how long I've been muted. Regardless, Texas getting themselves back into this. We did have some score updates. Merrimack is past the Kent State 50-yard line. They are about 10 yards-ish, maybe a little bit less from the red zone. Because they're going to need more than 3. So a touchdown will basically do, I mean, they can also elect to kick a field goal, see if their defense can get the job done there. But the last time they kicked it back off to the Flashes, it was to the house with that kickoff return. We have the completion to injuries. Another incomplete pass at the moment, 2 injuries, but we do have the highlight to that new Texas Longhorn tight end. Texas just needs to get this big first down, gets them past the halfway point of the field. 1:38 left on the clock. He has an underneath route. There he cannot come up with the completion. Wingo. He had so much space there. He tried to one-hand it as the pass was a little bit behind him. This is going to be the biggest 4th down here in Columbus between the two. Caleb Downs would have been right on him after that completion if he would have reeled it in. Here we go, big 4th down. It's a completed pass. It's going to be short of the first down, and that's going to probably wrap it up here in the shoe. Ohio State has turned the ball over on downs. It's 14-7, 1:27 left on the clock. The Buckeyes are going to kneel it and get out of this with a big, big win. They're most likely going to be moving up to number 1 in the nation after this big, big win. And they'll make it 2 in a row, at least for the last 2 meetings against the Longhorns. And Julian Sane will also get his first win as the Buckeye QB1. Texas takes their final timeout with 1:25 on the clock. don't think that's going to be enough time. If I'm doing the math right in my head. Maybe there's like 5 seconds left. At least we got some fireworks here at the end. This game ending on the second to last drive. And it looks like we're going to wrap it up here in Columbus between Ohio State and Texas. I do have a score update though, as we're not just covering the Texas-Ohio State game. Let us go down and make some changes real quick. That'll be the final scoreline for the main game. 14-7. That's how this one concludes. A defense of just, I don't want to say masterclass, but very close to it, especially for Ohio State, holding Texas in the red zone twice, only allowing them to score 7 points and stopping them there on downs to wrap it up and hand it off for their offense to kneel it away. I mean, they didn't have the best of times on offense, but it was just enough to get by the Longhorns here. 14-7 is what is going to be ending in the shoe. The other ending score lines, I think we have a few more. Oh no, oh, no, actually we don't. This is going to be the second game that wraps up. Oh, it's kind of surprising. Let me refresh this page. Make sure I'm right. Oh, okay. So we have some other final scores. Let me put the big old F's next to them. So Ohio State, Texas wraps up. Duquette versus Pitt also ends 61-9 for the Panthers. As this game right here. Tulane, Northwestern, the Green Wave almost do exactly what Ohio State just did to the Longhorns, just not allowing a touchdown, only a field goal. That one wraps up to be 23-3. Navy obliterates the Cadets of Virginia Military Institute 52-7. And I believe those are the first 5 that we have already ended. Purdue, Ball State, we talked about that being the first one to end in regulation. I think we have a few more here that will stay live for. We have, well, no, actually, that's almost a whole quarter left in Atlanta. Mississippi State, Southern Miss is about to wrap up. The Golden Eagles do not go away with just 10 points. They actually add at least 6 for the moment. They also get the extra point to make it 34-17 as they host that SEC foe, but it looks like that's not going to be enough. But going out strong. I think we'll probably end the stream with Mary Mac. I think that would be a good way, because that's an interesting storyline. As they're on a 20-plus game losing streak at the moment. Kentucky gets another touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it 17-2 over the visiting Toledo Rockets. And then Boston College extends their lead, now making it 21-3 against Fordham. Just getting the bottom scores actually updated before I go into the big one. Okay. I think we have all of these in line, if I'm not mistaken now. All right, here we go back to the full screen of scoreboards. Again, Kentucky extending their lead now, making it 17-2. Central Connecticut gets a field goal, makes it 28-10 against UConn. And then the last score update was Boston College Fordham 21-3. We'll wrap up the stream depending on that Merrimack and Kent State scoreline. Syracuse did technically score not too long ago. Made it 38-26 against Tennessee. Ooh, we have a punt return for the one in Bloomington to check out before we get out of here. So we'll have a few nice highlights. Let's see if I can find another one. We also have the final play of that Texas drive. Queuing up a bunch of highlights, it looks like. They're rolling in. It looks like Merrimack is, or that update is not coming in as fast as I thought it was. And the flashes have held on to end that streak. It's just refusing to update. At least for a while there, it's been sitting for some reason like that. Let me just update the scores. Toledo has scored a touchdown. Yes, I was correct that it hasn't updated. So we're gonna get some final scores here in a few moments. Toledo looks to be alive, 17-8. They gotta wait for their extra point. Merrimack falls to Kent State, 21-17. How many games was in that losing streak? Kent State was on a 21-game losing streak that they have just broken. Again, winning 21-7. Do I have any other updates that I need to make? I don't think so, because I just did that on the bottom. And yeah, the Mary Mac Flashes contest right here has ended 21-17, which I believe everything on the top row besides that Mississippi or Southern Miss versus Mississippi State game is about to wrap up. I think it was less than a minute in the fourth quarter there. And then Maryland versus FAU should be wrapping up pretty soon as well. Let's check out those highlights that I just mentioned not too long ago. Get those on the screen. This is the final play of that drive for Texas. Completing the pass to Endries, but coming up short. Pressure there coming in from the right side. Forces Arch Manning out of the pocket. Makes a pretty good effort. Brandon Baker, the right tackle for the Longhorns, absolutely nowhere to be found. He didn't even see that defender come in. He's just looking straight in to the interior there. And then the other one, 91-yard punt return for the Indiana Hoosiers to tie the ball game up 7-7. So they're matching the big plays of the Monarchs of Old Dominion. And that'll maybe be the last highlight for the stream. I started to close out some screens too. Okay, I think we did it. I think we got into the end of the stream here. So we're going to be wrapping it up pretty soon, I think, because all of the kind of final scores that we have been looking at, I believe Maryland versus I'm just refreshing my screen. Maryland versus FAU should be wrapping up here in a few moments. Yeah, it just ended 39-7. And the only other games that are in the fourth quarter would be Toledo, Kentucky, and then Tennessee, Syracuse. All of the top row, besides that game in Atlanta, is done. Second row basically has wrapped up here. It's just these final couple of rows to where there's still some games going on. But I think that's going to be it for us again here at your Sports Outpost. I've been your host, Road Dog, coming to you live from the trenches of my couch. Thank you again for joining us. If you did, we are going to be, getting out of here. Thank you again for tuning in as we've covered the 14 morning/noon games this Saturday. And we are also covering all 136 FBS programs as best we can. We will see you live next Saturday from the trenches of my couch for Iowa at Iowa State in Ames for next week's morning show. Just like a little red zone taste to it that we were doing this morning on YT. Later today, we are going live on Rumble for LSU at Clemson for a nice watch along over on that platform. We will be on the front page of that Rumble front page for that game. And you don't need a sub. You just need to come in and hang out for any weekend of college football this year. Mr. Pewter, take us out.
That's it, football fiends from your Sports Outpost. Don't forget to check out our show next weekend for some big play and highlights of that week's morning games. We also have links below for other stuff related to the channel and our homies if you are interested in others that make content in the sports world. Okay, hope to see you again and stay wrecked.